All right, we are back now here at the KFYR Plus News Desk. And today we sit down with Burley County Sheriff Kelly Leben, who recently announced his retirement after 36 years of service. Sheriff Leben, sworn in 2018, will conclude his tenure on December 31st, marking the end of an era. Sheriff Leben, thank you so much for your time today. I sure appreciate it.
Jay, thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. So let's get right to it, Sheriff Leben. What influenced your decision to end your tenure at the on December 31st of 26?
And that's a real good question, Jay. As I sit here today, I can tell you I still love this job. I still love
Mm-hmm.
the agency. I still love serving the public. But everybody always told me you knew when it was time. And as I was coming up on either deciding to run for reelection or stepping aside like I am going to do, I've told many of my friends and supporters it wasn't that bright light I was expecting. It was just kind
Mm-hmm.
of that voice in my ear saying, maybe it's time to let somebody else take the
Maybe it's time.
the position and move it forward.
Well, so looking back, what are you most proud of during your tenure?
Jay, I gotta say honestly, and I've said this, through my time in the department and my time as sheriff, um, truly I've been blessed. I've worked for a good agency. When we
Mm-hmm.
hire people and I meet with new recruits, I always tell them, if it wasn't a good agency, I wouldn't have stayed here or I would have worked to fix it. And so, I think what I'm most proud of is just that I did the best job I could. I stayed true to my values in this position. Wasn't always easy. We've been through some controversial times, on a national level that has come down to the local level.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, it was always about the rule of law and serving the people. And I mean, it sounds kind of cliche to say that, but really that's what I think it all comes down to.
When you first became sheriff, you were sworn in 2018. What vision did you have for the department, and do you feel that you met those goals?
Jay, and thank you for asking that. I can say yes, absolutely. What's interesting is when I came in when I ran for sheriff, I was fortunate. I worked under some great leadership.
Mm-hmm.
But as you come up through the ranks, you're not going to run for sheriff if you don't have your own vision of what you want to accomplish. And so I say every sheriff is different. And I've told the guy that has announced every sheriff will be different. Um,
Mm-hmm.
what I find satisfaction in is I had created a list of what I wanted to accomplish when I came in the door. Revamp our policy, revamp our promotion process, you know, uh, fix our retention issues. And honestly, as I've gone back, I had, because in this position, you always got to prepare for another campaign. You're always preparing to defend your ability to do the job. And so I kept the data on what we got done. And as I've gone through that list, my last project that I finished, and I was thankful. I didn't think I was going to get it done, but I did. And that was to set up drug interdiction programs with some of the postal services in the community,
Okay.
because I think that's where some of the activity goes on. And so we got that done. So, um, you know, Jay, real quick, one of the things I'm proud of is
Mm-hmm.
when we talk retention, we are fully staffed. Law enforcement has struggled to be able to maintain that. We got it done. And what tells me we're on the right track is the amount of employees, our own employees, are recruiting for us. So I know they're content and happy, or they wouldn't be wanting their friends and family to come work here.
Sure. Sheriff Leben, what is your leadership style like?
I think it's a combination, and uh, I think everybody says servant leadership, but you know, I started under Sheriff Bob Harvey, old school sheriff, 28
Hmm.
years as sheriff. I think those days are over. Uh, but, you know, even before some of the leadership terms were popular, such as management by walking around, that's what I saw from Sheriff Harvey. He knew the pulse of the organization because he was in every part of the agency, talking to the people in the trenches doing the job. And really, I would say the other over my years in this profession in the military, I just got a lot of good advice from a lot of good leaders. And one is stay connected, know what's going on. The other is empower your people and get out of their way. But at the end of the day, I always tell the staff, I'm accountable for all of this, so I'm
Hmm.
still going to have my hand in it.
Hmm.
But really, you got to empower your people, give them the resources to get it done, get out of their way, but be there to support them, no matter what the outcome is.
What qualities do you believe are essential for a good sheriff?
Jay, what I would say is this world, when I got elected, the world got pretty gray quickly. It wasn't as black and white as I saw it coming
Yeah.
up through the ranks. And
Hmm.
and I think the quality, one of the things I instilled in this agency, and with the public, is I work for them, the employees and the public. I had a guy call me one day and he told me, I hear you on the radio say you will take every phone call. And he said, I told my wife I was gonna call your bluff. Now I got to go back and tell her you did take my call. And and I really believe that. I believe I work for the people. And if they got a concern, people have told me, I can't believe you called me back. And I say, well, you are my boss. And I'm not just,
Yeah.
blowing smoke. They are.
Sure.
But I've also told our employees, I said, as much as you work for me, I work for you because you're a voter of Burleigh County, you're a citizen of Burleigh County, and it's my job to run this agency, but I'm also here to support you. So I just think those qualities of, remembering you were there once too,
Hmm.
and what you hoped and wanted in a leader, be that.
So, how has the relationship between law enforcement and the community evolved during your tenure?
You know, I can tell you this, and I said this in my letter as I announced that I was not
Hmm.
seeking reelection. It, and we stress this maybe not daily, Jay, but all the time in this agency. I tell the people we cannot do this job without the support and trust of the public. We have it to a high degree, but it can be lost in an instant. And and it's not that we're not going to make mistakes, but when we make those mistakes, we got to own them and we got to fix them. And we can't be in a state of trying to deny it or push the blame somewhere else. I would say this: over the course of my career, I don't think there's ever been a time in North Dakota, and especially Burleigh County, where I've questioned the support and the trust of the public. But having said that, I've worked for some great leaders that built that trust. And so I think at times, probably one of my most challenging times was COVID, you know,
Hmm.
but I stressed to the people that had concerns with some of my decisions that I will follow the rule of law. I wasn't elected to pick and choose which laws to support and enforce. And so if it can legally become a law, whether it's controversial or not, I think that's my job to carry it out. Now, if we don't like that, then let's fix it. But we can't have lawlessness.
36 years of service to our community. We thank you for that, Sheriff Leben. But as you leave here at the end of 26, what do you think will be some of the biggest challenges that law enforcement will have in the next 5 to 10 years?
Well, and I think one of the biggest challenges we're going to face, and it's really not a threat you would expect. I think 3% salary or 3% uh, property tax caps are going to change how local government works. And
Mm,
and I think there's merit to that. And I have talked very long and hard in this profession that we have to be responsible stewards of the taxpayer money. And it's cliche and easy to say that, but I really think we're in a different time. I think the national model is going to, at some point, drift into North Dakota, and or I shouldn't say national model, the national issues, but hopefully not. But I think the biggest thing is, we're growing, crime keeps going up, the need for jail space keeps going up, but at the same time, we're going to have to work with property tax issues.
okay. What advice would you give to young people considering a career in law enforcement?
The advice I would give them is it is the most honorable profession, in my opinion, that you can join. And I will tell you, I just said this the other day. 36 years, Jay, if I was a younger man, I'd start over tomorrow and
Mm.
do it all again. Um, you know, Never compromise your values, never compromise your integrity. Don't be afraid to stand up and champion what's right, and this is the best profession to get to do that in.
Sheriff Lieben, that is advice to a newbie. Now, let's give advice to your successor.
Well, I would tell him, trust your staff. Um, Remember who you work for. You work for the people. They, I would just say, keep an open mind, but there will be times where you have to stand alone in your decision on what is right, and you can never compromise your values. Uh, and and they didn't put you in this position to make the easy decisions.
Yeah, that's why you make the big bucks, Sheriff Lieben.
Some days, Jay, thought there's got to be an easier way to do it, but I've loved every minute of it.
So December 31st, before you know it, it's going to be here. You're going to be cleaning out your desk, and you walk out of the doorway for the very first slam. Any personal goals or anything that you're looking forward to doing, this time in 2027?
And that's a great question, Jay. And I've said, as I've talked with my family, and I don't know what's next. And it's strange. I've been a goal-driven person my entire life from the first day I entered the military till
Mm-hmm.
today, when I made this decision. And I think what I'm looking forward to most is just having it be my schedule. And if I want to stop and visit one of my friends as I'm driving here or there, I can do it, and I'm not on a schedule anymore. I don't have urgent matters. One of the things, and I don't want to wish this on the people, but I make the decision whether or not to close the courthouse in a storm. And
Mm-hmm.
it seems like a simple decision, but no matter what, I've got somebody upset with me. And I just the other day when we were worried about that big ice storm, I thought, I can't wait till the day when I get to just stay at home and not make that decision.
Sheriff Lieben, someone once told me, once you're involved in community service, it's with you forever. Do you feel like you'll continue to be in community service even after retirement?
I will, Jay, and as I went through my life, I like to stay busy. I'm always going on to something new. I've been very active in a lot of organizations, the Shrine Circus, our church, all these different things. My wife always gives me a hard time. I join and I say I don't want to be in a leadership position. I end up in a leadership position, which I guess is good. If I've got the skills and people want to follow me, I'll use what I can. But I always love to help. And when I went through this decision, Jay, we were coming back from the lake. my wife and I had happened to see earlier a post on Facebook from a friend of mine that he was looking for people to help a farmer in need. And I told
Hmm.
my wife, I said, if I was retired, I would be going there and I would tell him he's in need. Don't pay me. I'm just coming to help. And
Hmm.
I, I, I always made a promise to myself I'd never work for money. Obviously, as you're going through your occupation, you can't work for free either. But
Right.
that's what I look forward to in retirement is just helping where I can and doing it out of the goodness of my heart.
What are you going to miss most about being sheriff?
I'm going to miss a lot, Jay, and really, when I told my leadership team of my decision on Tuesday morning before I made it public, I did. I told myself I wasn't going to get emotional. I do my best not to, um, but I'm gonna miss. I'm gonna miss it all. It's
Hmm.
the coolest job in the world. You're the only elected law enforcement officer in our nation. You work for the public. You answer to them. You you're you help all the employees, get the benefit and satisfaction they want out of their occupation. You're there for the public in their time of need. You get to make a difference, and I'm gonna miss it. It has. I can't. There's days I wouldn't want to go back through them, but I wouldn't give any of them up because it will be 8 years of my life that I will never forget. Even the campaign. The
Hmm.
campaign brought all different parts of our life together in 18. And today, a lot of them are good friends and because they worked together on that campaign. And I've told them all, I'll never forget what you did for me. But um, it's just I've been blessed, and I I don't take that lightly.
Well, we'll get you out of here with this question, Sheriff Leben. What do you hope your legacy will be as the Burleigh County Sheriff?
I've said this through my whole career in as I was in leadership positions, and I I always have said I'm not here to be your friend. I've said that to the employees, and and if you tell me I'm demanding, if you tell me I'm impatient, if you tell me I'm strong-willed, I can live with that. But if you tell me you couldn't trust me, if you didn't believe in my leadership, if I didn't care about employees, that would have tore me up. And so I
Hmm.
hope my legacy when I leave here is that they knew I cared and they knew I gave my all. And how I can say that and not get choked up, Jay. Maybe I've
Yeah.
been processing this, but really, I hope that's what they remember me by is that I cared and I did my best. And I've told our team through the years, it's the decisions I make are never about me. They're never about the employees. They're about what is best for the Burleigh County Sheriff's Department.
Hmm.
And this place is bigger than any one person, and that's the way it should be.
Sheriff Kelly Leben, thank you so much for your decades of service and leadership, sir. We wish you all the best in retirement. At the end of this year, you've still got a little bit more sheriffing to do, so hey, you be
Yes,
careful out there, okay?
I will, Jane. Thanks for the time. I enjoyed talking to you.
Absolutely. Take care. We'll catch you soon, sir. Thank you now. All right, quick break here at the News Desk. We'll come back with a look at your entertainment update next on KFYR Plus.